Hey guys, David here. So recently I came across a new Forex strategy involving the MACD and basically a trend line setup using them. On some examination, I have found that using the strategy provided on this website, that it could have potentially returned 25% over the past 5 months. That's 25% over 5 months. That's pretty damn good and wow, right? On one currency pair. It trades the higher time frames, the 4 hour and the daily, so it's much easier to follow. Now, having looked in depth into the strategy, I'm not the biggest fan. However, it has changed the way I am trading. I definitely use the strategy in my analysis. But first, let me show you the strategy and then we can go on and I can show you some live examples. So credit where credit's due. This is from tradingstrategyguides.com. That's the MACD trend following strategy. Basically, the rules are with the MACD indicator on the chart, you draw a trend line to connect the troughs, and where the MACD breaks the trend line, that is where the entry is. So as you can see, it potentially provides a much earlier entry than a trend line break, which is kind of what I've seen in my examinations as well, which is pretty cool. The rules in this system, following them perfectly, when the MACD breaks the trend line is your entry. So at the top of this candle, and the exit or stop loss goes below the recent swing low, and the target is where the MACD crosses over. You may have noticed it's been a long time since my last video, quite a few months. I probably wouldn't be back here, except I got a lot of likes and a lot of subscriptions from my last video, and looking back at it, it was terrible. So clearly the information in the video was useful and interesting to people. So I've put together another video. Literally the only reason I'm doing another video is because people liked my old video. So please like and subscribe. I'm wowed at the previous response, so that's why I'm continuing with another video. If I keep getting the responses, I will keep adding more and more videos. And if we flick across to TradingView, we can see our examples. Trend line of the MACD, this one here, breaking the MACD. And as we can see, the entry on this bar coming down for a 2-to-1 risk reward, which is pretty good. If we flick across a bit further, we can see this trend line coming through here, breaks the trend line. So it enters after the big candle, which I find really annoying, leading to a massive stop loss. And in this case, you're entering just on the way up to resistance, so kind of a very exciting trade to be taking. But it's still on the exit, you're still getting out about here, and so you're still on about a 0.5 risk to reward, so you're not doing particularly well. But as you can see, it provides lots of entries which are enjoyable to follow. Here's one I missed. Entry would have been there. Probably on that high. Risk would have been there. Exit would have been where it crossed there. Naturally, and against the trend trade is a loss. But only half of what you lost, or less than half to get out. And if you'd stuck with it, you would have gone into quite a good win if you got out on the next one. So it happens. That's what I notice a lot about this strategy is there'll be a MACD cross, and that takes you out of the trade, often with a very small win or sometimes a very small loss. And then the trend continues on to another MACD peak. I've found this quite a few times. Here's another good example where you got out with a very small win and then the trend just rocketed off. So this is what I'm finding with this strategy. That's why I'm not a particularly big fan about it. However, it does seem to provide some good solid entries. So As long as the other technicals, say support and resistance, are lining up, then it is quite good. A few things I would like to point out that I'm noticing with this strategy. Sometimes it breaks out of the trend line, comes back and bounces on the trend line, like here. And what happened here? Wham, mega trend, right? And another example is here. It came back down, the exit was there on the original entry, but if you had waited for the next signal, next MACD signal, you could have held this entire bullish run all the way to the top, and your exit could have been this little divergence trigger here. The exit for this one could have been the little MACD divergence at the top of the trend on the 4 hour as well. So what I'm noticing is that a bounce after the trend line break can be a really good entry. Just here, stop loss below. The MACD might even start bouncing along its own little trend line the whole way up before getting a massive spike with a big divergence. It's happened at least twice, so it's actually quite impressive looking at that. If we flick across to this chart, we can see those entries. If you had done this entry on the bounce, you would have got a whopping 9-to-1 risk reward. That's awesome. And on this one, if you had entered after the bounce and gone all the way to the top of the divergence, you got a 13-to-1 risk reward. That's awesome. That's incredible. But you got some pretty big balls holding those as they continue upwards, because, yeah, I wouldn't want to watch it. I'd be waiting for those signals to get out. Something special for you guys. So if you're not aware, this is TradingView. It has multiple accounts, a free and multiple paid versions. Something I've discovered recently is TradingView FXCM is providing a free TradingView Pro for 1 year. I'm currently using it. I highly recommend it. That's just a free little trick for you guys if you're interested. From TradingView, going back and looking at the charts like I did, there was a potential of a 25% return over 5 months using this strategy. Now, that is really good. However, I want to see if I can actually trade that way. So I went and tried to use Forex Tester. As you can see in the background, I'm now using Forex Tester. Forex Tester is a program. It's not free. It costs money. I highly recommend it though. Basically, it allows me to take past data and trade it live. Basically, I'm practicing using my strategy almost live on old data to see if I can actually trade my strategy. What I discovered after trading this over a period of 8 months is that I had 2 wins, 1 loss, and I had about 4 break-evens. I think in my examination, I missed the entries on about 4 or 5 trades. So ultimately, it is not the best strategy. I will note that the wins I had were significantly bigger than my loss, so that is a good thing. But however, trading it by myself, I did not find it the best. Perhaps I could practice it more. I really like Forex Tester because it allowed me to do that sort of analysis, to trade 8 months of data in a couple of hours, and to basically work out if this strategy is viable for me or if it's not. And quite frankly, it's not. However, as you can see, I like to use this in my analysis. This strategy has been one of the only strategies, the only analysis I have actually seen that sets you up to catch these sort of trends. All well and good. What happens if you miss the entry? Well, that's what the genius of this is about. This is on the 4 hour and the daily time frames. So if you're using the analysis on the 4 hour and daily time frames, you can flick down multiple time frames to, say, the 30-minute, and then you can use a trend following strategy in this section to make the big bucks. So how do you trade it? Well, you use a lower time frame trading strategy, whether that's pivot points or using another MACD related strategy. You could also take an expert advisor, a robot, and literally just trade it long, only long. You cut off all the short options and just trade it long. I actually currently use a grid trading robot for trading these sort of trends, and I found it to be quite profitable, actually up 180% on that. So just quite nice, I must admit. This MACD strategy I am using to find these trends so that I can trade these trends and so that I can set up a robot to run it on a lower time frame. One thing I really want to make clear to everybody in this video is that although I've been profitable over the past few months, the reason for my profit is not that I'm getting lucky or that I found a really good strategy. It's that I'm practicing the strategy I've got, right? I'm forward testing it on Forex Tester. I'm using Forex Tester because I find it the easier program to use. However, you can use it on TradingView if you want. I just find it a bit clunky in comparison. But please, I recommend that if you're going to get nothing out of this video, then at least get one thing that you need to be practicing your strategy. It must become clear and easy for you to do and understand. The feedback I got from my last video is incredible. So I hope that what I provided in this video you find useful and beneficial. Hopefully that you can find this strategy useful. And if you don't, perhaps you can use it some other way. But thank you. Please like and subscribe. And if I get that, I will continue to produce more content like this.